Now, growing up in the 90s, we had a lot of great TV shows, such as Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Animaniacs, and Tiny Toons. But I'm sure all of us agree that Batman, the animated series, is the best TV show to come out of the 90s. Just as enjoyable to watch today as when it was new. Every episode is a work of art. The characters were complex, the stories were dark, occasionally scary, but always making sure it was enjoyable to watch for all ages. But out of all the episodes of the show, I'm going to reveal 12 of my favorite episodes. This is my top 12 favorite episodes of Batman, the animated series. Number 12. Over the Edge. This episode opens with Batman and Robin being chased by Commissioner Gordon and his men through the Batcave, destroying everything in their path, while Alfred and Nightwing get arrested, and Batman persuading Robin to turn himself in. So naturally, my reaction to this opening consisted mainly of two simple words.
Holy shit!
My God, what the hell is going on? As it turns out, while Batman and Batgirl do battle with the Scarecrow, Batgirl is knocked over the edge and falls to her death, but not before landing on her father's car, thus causing Gordon to unmask Batgirl, showing that it is his own daughter.
How could you? I worked with you, trusted you, and you never told me?
So Gordon wages war on Batman, even going so far as to seek help from Bane.
What?
I found this episode so difficult to watch because here were two friends, two allies, turned against each other. But that's what makes a great episode, is that it leaves you guessing as to wondering what's going to happen to them next. And will Batman make it out alive?
There's no place to run, Wayne.
Good. I want to finish him slowly.
I want him alive. Alive to rot away in Arkham, surrounded by the monsters he's created.
Number 11. Mad Love. What this show was best remembered for was the creation of the Joker's henchwoman, Harley Quinn. She started out as an intern at Arkham Asylum. She's soon given a chance to interview the Joker, and then becomes smitten with him, ultimately becoming the Joker's partner in crime. Though this wasn't the first episode she appeared in, this was the episode that explains how she came to be, and how she, despite the Joker constantly treating her like a punching bag, still loves him. Plus, it's always fun to see the Joker and Harley Quinn interact with each other.
But it's still your plan, see? Everything just like you said. Except I hung the guy upside down so he'd see their little frowns as little smiles. Now it all works.
Except you had to explain it to me! If you have to explain a joke, there is no joke!
Harley Quinn became so popular, she was used in the Arkham video games and was given cinematic treatment in Suicide Squad, played by the beautiful Margot Robbie.
Pardon?
Number 10. Perchance to Dream. Bruce Wayne wakes up one morning to discover that his parents are still alive, is engaged to Selina Kyle, and someone else is being Batman. Now you'd think that Bruce would be content with living a normal life, but somehow he just can't comprehend that this is real. He begins to struggle with whether this is a fantasy or reality, leading up to a confrontation with Bruce Wayne and Batman. It's probably one of the most complicated episodes to talk about. Just give this a watch. Number 9. Joker's Favor. Some poor schmo named Charlie Collins is having a rotten day, and at one point cusses out a reckless driver who just happens to be the Joker.
That was the Joker. I cussed out the Joker.
The Joker comes to harm him, but Charlie says he'll do anything to make it up. So the Joker decides to let him off if he promises to do a favor for him. Time passes by, and the Joker reaches out to him to assist the Joker in an assassination plot against Commissioner Gordon. This was actually the first episode I saw that featured the Joker, and never knew that Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, provided the voice for the Joker. Hamill would continue to voice the Joker in the Arkham games and many other animated Batman movies. It was also the first episode that introduced us to Harley Quinn. Plus, how often do you see the Joker call Batman out for help?
You've had a busy day. All this running around, all this excitement with Batman!
Number 8. Mudslide. This episode isn't an origin story, but about the death of a supervillain. In this case, Clayface, voiced by Hellboy himself, Ron Perlman. Clayface made his debut in the 2-part episode Feet of Clay, but in this particular episode, Clayface is falling apart. He is then aided by a woman with access to equipment that could keep him from deteriorating even further. She tells him of an isotope that somehow can cure him of his ailments and somehow make him human again. My favorite moment has to be when Clayface changes in the subway.
Look at that lady, Mommy. She's got mud all over her.
That's it, run. Run for your measly lives. Run from Clayface!
The final fight between Batman and Clayface is very emotional. The ending really got to me. Just watch. Number 7. Birds of a Feather. Featuring the sophisticated of all the Batman rogues gallery, Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot, aka the Penguin. It involves the Penguin after serving his time in prison, deciding to go straight. He soon receives a call from a rich woman named Veronica asking him out. We soon learn that she is dating him just for the sake of making headlines, unbeknownst to the Penguin, who sees this as a serious relationship and starts to fall in love with her, even though she doesn't love him in return. You could really see that he's trying his best to change for the better, but somehow that can never be. It's one of the most heartbreaking stories the show has ever done. Plus, that's Paul Williams doing the voice of the Penguin.
Audubon, my personal favorite.
I really love the moment when the Penguin attends the opera. Number 6. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? When a video game creator named Edward Nygma is fired from his job, he then holds his boss hostage, but not before assuming the guise of the Riddler, a villain who can't commit a crime without leaving a clue that Batman needs to solve. Leading Batman and his sidekick Robin to find his hostage in the confines of a dangerous maze. What I truly love about this episode is not only does John Glover do a fantastic job with voicing the Riddler.
My. Can we actually have a brain beneath that pointy cowl of ours? So tell me, have you brawn to match?
But about how complex the maze both Batman and Robin have to go through in order to save the captive hostage. A lot of the Riddler's riddles are really interesting. Plus, it's always fun to see Batman and Robin trying to figure out all these puzzles.
We've got to use one of these keys.
Yes, but which one? And why are they labeled A, C, and D?
Don't look at me.
Let's try D.
Look out!
Number 5. Trial. This episode examines what a lot of people thought about the Batman character. Is he creating these super criminals like the Joker or Two-Face? According to the new district attorney of Gotham City, she believes Batman is as unstable as the crooks he brings in. So the criminals kidnap Batman and the new DA, are taken to Arkham Asylum, where they hold a mock trial with Two-Face as the prosecutor and the Joker as the judge, thereby causing the DA to defend Batman even though she emphatically abhors Batman and his methods. Not only does this episode include a lot of our favorite baddies, but it also allows the new DA to undergo a transformation herself. Plus, it features a lot of funny moments.
I suppose you, like your friends, claim that Batman drove you to be a criminal?
He did.
And yet, as I recall your case, you brainwashed and kidnapped a woman who rejected you.
Batman forced me to do it. He was going to take her away from me. I had no choice.
You could have respected her wishes and left her alone.
I'd have killed her first! Oh, I'd like that last statement stricken from the record, please.
Record? Is someone supposed to be writing this down?
Number 4. Almost got him. Here we have the Joker, the Penguin, Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, and Two-Face, while playing poker, talk about who came the closest to killing Batman.
You'd think one of us would have got him by now.
I've come the closest.
Are you kidding? I was the one who nearly...
Nobody's come closer to snuffing the Batman than me.
Get
out of my face.
The fact of the matter is, we each have an almost gotten Batman story. I know mine's the best, but let's hear yours anyway.
Each one tells their story about how they almost got him. I find each of their methods of how they try to kill Batman so creative. Poison Ivy using exploding pumpkins, Two-Face with a giant penny, the Penguin with a variety of different birds, and the Joker with a laughter-inducing electric chair. Plus, it's always fun to watch the villains play off each other. It also features what could possibly be the funniest moment in the entire series.
Anyone else want to go?
Me! There I was, holed up in this quarry. When Batman came nosing around, he was getting closer, closer.
And?
I threw a rock at him. It was a big rock.
Number 3. Beware the Gray Ghost. I absolutely adore this episode. A mysterious mad bomber is causing havoc in Gotham City. However, the crimes bear a striking resemblance to an old TV show that Bruce Wayne used to watch with his father, called The Gray Ghost. Since no copies of the show exist, he turns to the star, a struggling actor named Simon Trent. Now, I'm sure you might recognize his voice.
I'm just an actor. The Gray Ghost was a part I played.
Yep, that's Adam West, the star of the 1966 TV show. It just shows how much love and respect the creators have with the original TV show, and somehow managed to make a creative and engaging and very entertaining, and not to mention very poignant story.
I used to admire what the Gray Ghost stood for.
I'm not the Gray Ghost.
I can see that now.
Number 2. Two-Face. This is the only episode on this list that is appropriately a two-part episode. It involves a hero turning into a tragic villain. The story is about Harvey Dent, the district attorney of Gotham City. Now, Harvey has a very complex split personality. What they don't explain in the episode, but in the comics, Harvey was physically abused by his father. The methods of abuse would be determined by a coin toss, a coin that has two heads and no tails. So Harvey became a schizophrenic, becoming a kind-hearted politician one minute into a psychotic monster like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But unlike the comics, where Dent is disfigured when acid is tossed in his face, in this episode, he is a victim of an explosion that destroys half of his body and causing him to succumb to his evil side. Now as Two-Face, he decides everything by the flip of the two-headed coin. If it landed on the clean side, he did the right thing. If he lands on the scar side, he does the exact opposite. Harvey wasn't introduced in this episode. He was seen in a couple of episodes before this. So when we saw what happens to him and the demons that he was battling, it was shocking. Two-Face became such a popular character on the show, he was given cinematic treatment in Batman Forever and later The Dark Knight, making him my second favorite villain in the Batman Rogues Gallery, and this episode as my second favorite episode of the series. I'm pretty sure Two-Face would have wanted it that way.
The law? Here's the only law. The law of averages. The great equalizer.
And my number one favorite Batman the Animated Series episode is Heart of Ice. This was the first episode of the series I ever saw, and instantly I was hooked. The story centers around the character of Mr. Freeze. Now, Mr. Freeze started out as Mr. Zero in the comics, a mad scientist who uses a freeze ray gun to commit his crimes, and was played by 3 different actors on the 1966 TV show. But this series redefined his backstory and made him Dr. Victor Freeze, a man who discovers that his wife Nora is dying of a mysterious illness. So to prevent her from dying, he uses all the resources at the GothCorp's lab to freeze his wife into a cryogenic sleep till he can find a cure. But Ferris Boyle, the man in charge of GothCorp, furious at Victor, shoves him into a bunch of chemicals that alters his body temperature in such a way that he can no longer live outside a sub-zero environment without the help of a refrigerated suit.
It would move me to tears if I still had tears to shed.
Now, because of this episode, anyone who uses the character of Mr. Freeze would use this backstory. This episode made Mr. Freeze into a more tragic villain and made his methods understandable but not excusable. Which begs to question, if you were in his position, how far are you willing to go to save a loved one? Even if you have to kill everyone to do it.
To never again walk on a summer's day with a hot wind in your face and a warm hand to hold. Oh yes, I'd kill for that.
It's one of the most emotionally moving stories and a great way to introduce me to this wonderful show, and was justly given an Emmy Award for its writing. Heart of Ice, my number one favorite episode of Batman, the Animated Series.
You know, as a kid, I used to watch it with my father. The Gray Ghost was my hero.
Really? And he still is.